deserve the best. With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritized customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
Looking for a unique point of view on pro sports game analysis? Then tune in to Big C Sports Podcast on iHeartRadio. Get real sports talk worldwide. Miss a live episode? Replay it on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Join Big C, former NFL player and longtime award-winning radio broadcaster, covering all sports including NFL, NBA, MLB, UFC, NCAA, USL, and more. Tune in live or on demand on iHeartRadio Podcast today.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I see. Okay. You gotta get this. You gotta get this. Okay.
Google Big C Sports for a unique point of view on NCAA, pro sports teams, and big-time players. Tune in now to Big C Sports Podcast. You get real sports talk worldwide. Even if you miss a live episode, you can replay it on demand. Google Big C Sports. Longtime award-winning radio broadcaster covering all sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, UFC, NCAA, USL, and more. Google the Big C Sports Podcast live or on demand today. Do it now.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast.
Grande Deportes, bonjour, vidi vidi vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. Of course, me and people who love the universe, and that would include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up, fool! It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying to watch reruns of the VP candidate debate last night. Okay. I told them that they voted me to be neighborhood spokesperson. And lo and behold, I won. They said, what? He won? Yeah, I won. And when I give my speech, as I become president of the United States, my first speech on January 20th will be reparations now, reparations forever. Nam yo renke yo, nam yo renke yo, nam yo renke yo. I love doing that with Big C Sports in Dimdale Hills. What a beautiful day. Today is a beautiful hump day. It is Wednesday, October the 2nd, 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers. Hopefully all new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world when you go by and test drive yours. Tell them sent you where the good Lord split you. And hopefully the good Lord didn't split you too wide. A lot of good old boys, they get split too wide, and I don't want to be split too wide if that makes sense to you. I do want to say what a great day in California. It's really hot in Dimdale Hills. I know it's been raining down south. They've been having some hurricanes in Florida. And I just wish thoughts and prayers for everybody going through something. But it's quite warm in Denver Hills, California. Really do appreciate that. It's lotto winning heat. That's the kind of heat it is for a lottery winning heat. I keep saying I'm going to win that lottery. I feel like I won it tonight. It has some great numbers. $275 million. Those numbers mean a lot to me, if that makes sense to you. I want to say I love bringing you Big C Sports Podcast on a beautiful, beautiful day like Hump Day. I got some NBA basketball to talk about. In fact, I have some excerpts from some of the players who we've heard about going from rags to riches, and then there are players who went from riches to rags. Or rags to riches to rags, because they didn't protect their assets, if that makes sense to you. And when you get rich, sometimes a lot of people come after your assets, if that makes sense to you. And that's what I love doing with the RDC team. We help people protect their assets. Sometimes I've been told I have a speech impediment, but I've been trying to deal with it. I took a speed reading class because I'm trying to learn to talk faster. And some people say, Big C, you talk too slow. It's like Mensa for speed talkers. You hear those guys at those automobile auctions, they so. Because you're always going to need somebody to auction off something. But I want to make sure that what I do with Big C Sports Podcast, I want to have fun in Denver Hills. I'm also launching a clothing line for Big C Sports Podcast, and I've been working on it since about 2017, and then some things happened, and I just realized it's time. So I was talking about launching my clothing line just last night. In fact, I've been thinking about it for the past, since my birthday in September. I got a lot going on, and I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to get it all in, like a smorgasbord. You ever want to get it all in? I want to get it all in, especially on Hump Day. On Hump Day, you got to get it all in. And so today, I was talking to a good old boy. He called me about some business, and he said that he's doing some work in Los Angeles with some designers and some distributors that distribute sports merchandising. And I got a good old boy that I used to work with back in Florida, back in the day, that does sports merchandising. They do outfits for college teams and sports teams all over the country. And I just hit him up. I still have some business cards that he gave me from back in the day. But I looked at my sports paraphernalia, and it's such a good looking outfit. I got Big C's hats. I got Big C's short sleeve athletic shirts and Big C's long sleeve athletic shirts. And I'm even thinking of coming up with some shoes. Shoes? Yeah, I'm thinking of coming up with Big C shoes, but I got to figure out how to do that part. But everybody, especially in California, there are a lot of people who work out. They don't like sitting around on their assets, eating bonbons and all that crap. We like to get out here and work out in California. There's a lot of pressure to look good and feel good. And with the Big C's athletic apparel, it's like a dry fit. You can walk through the rain and not get wet. Oh, that's a false advertising, Big C. Okay, you can get wet, but you don't get soaking wet, if that makes sense to you. You can walk through the rain and not get soaking wet. I mean, that's part of the advertisement that I got to put together. But I'm telling you, I'm going to be launching the Big C Sporting Apparel. It's already been prepared. I have some great outfits. Even have some that glow in the dark. You can glow in the dark. You can always find where somebody is running, especially at nighttime. You want to be able to be seen. And we have some glow-in-the-dark microfiber material. There's a lot of good things coming to the world of Big C Sports Podcast. But I want to make sure that I do my part in making sure that everybody knows. Ready? That's what I'm talking about. I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platforms provided by the agency. We can all have more laughter in our lives. I know I could use more laughter. And then the commercials are done. I do my own commercials many times. The stats are provided. I even do the storytelling, and then I do the play-by-play. First and 10, 50-yard line, 4 wide outs for the Niners, 5-man front by the Cardinals. The snap, rolling, Montana, rolling to his right. He throws downfield. It is caught for the touchdown. Touchdown, Niners. Big C, 50 yards. Montana to Big C. It's Montana to Big C back in the day. All's fair in Leavenworth. I really do appreciate that. A lot of good old things happening with a lot of good old boys, and Big C Sports loves being a part of that. And then the show's uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City, and then streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. And number 10, I never miss a show. Never miss a show. No, I never miss a show. Through joy, pain, sunshine, and rain, like the late, great Frankie Beverly sang about. Through joy, pain, sunshine, and rain, I never miss a show. There's something called an Issachar moment in the Bible. The Issachar moment where God says, yes, Big C, yes, you can have whatever you say. And I love saying I can have whatever I say, so I got to say it to be praised. Thank you, God. I want to say thank you, God, even more, giving God praise. So many great things have been happening in my life. There's some crap going on too, but I don't worry about crap. Just flush it down the toilet. But some good things are happening in my life. And I kid you not, the more I've been giving God praise, the more things have been showing up. It means I get away from crappy people that look to do me harm, I mean me no good. God just separates me from those people. It's amazing how that's happening. My life is more involved with people that show me love and kindness and love, peace, and soul. And I thank God for that. I kid you not. There have been people calling me, talking to me about what's on my mind from doing the Big C Sports TV show, also the Big C Sports merchandising, apparel. It's not about me. It's about helping other people. Also, the National Black Wall Street Project School that's being developed as we are breathing to help college kids have a way to go work for themselves and become entrepreneurial. Well, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I also want to say what I love doing with Big C Sports Podcast. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then God said, let there be thy love shining light on the world. And something I love also shining light on is something that's near and dear to my heart. I want to make sure I do it for every show. Every show. It's important. Always rise and shine. The Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. We are free because we have brave people that fought for us. And instead of saying thank you for your service, I want to be more than that. There's a Veterans Crisis Hotline. They will stand on their head to get our veterans some help. If you know anybody going through issues, give them this number, 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give them some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. And it sure is good when somebody's leaning back. I love giving out that Veterans Crisis Hotline. I have a family full of veterans, from grandparents, great-grandparents, brothers, my father. I even have some nephews that served this great country from sea to shining sea. No, we did not get the Homestead Act from 1862. That only went to white people. No, we did not get the GI Bill after World War II. No, that only went to white people. Isn't that amazing? And we still rise and shine. Imagine when God says, yes, yes, you can have it. Ephesians 3:20. That God can give you above and beyond all you can ask or think. But God is the source. Don't worry about these politicians. I saw J.D. Vance last night and Tim Walz last night. They said nothing about reparations. Nothing. But they keep asking for your vote. They said nothing about the biggest atrocity in this country, which is slavery. The most draconian style of slavery in the world. But they ask for your vote, and they pretend that they don't know about the Just Act that gave descendants of Holocaust reparations. They pretend they don't know about the 1866 Indian Treaty that gave Native Americans some land that they have these reservations on with these casinos. African Americans were supposed to be a part of that. They act like they don't know about Japanese reparations, where Japanese Americans were interned after World War II. They act like they don't know about it when it comes to descendants of chattel slavery. Shame on you! I always talk about it with Big C Sports Podcast because it's real. I want to do what's real and what's right for a lot of people. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to say I have a quiz coming up because I have a guide to protect and preserve and transfer wealth. Now, pay attention because it's going to be a quiz. I'm not like your great granddaddy's quiz where you can do it in silence, and if you got all wrong answers, you didn't know because it was done in silent. I do my quiz on the air, all around the world. If I make a mistake, you hear my mistake. And sometimes people tell me, Big C, you made a mistake. Yeah, I know some people, they can't wait to tell you when you made a mistake. But pay attention. Ready, set, go. A guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth. Resource Development Consulting, Inc. in conjunction with the law office of Scott Thibodeau, attorney at law, and the law office of attorney George Jones, Esquire. Listen up, athletes, especially you players that are making tens of millions of dollars. You don't want to miss today's show. The Missing Link, long-term care, solutions by the book, helping seniors get their benefits. Hopefully we'll all be seniors at some point in time, and we'll all want to get our benefits. Medicare and You, taking care of tomorrow. In California, it's called Medi-Cal, and other parts of the country it's called Medicaid. It's by the government's book. It's not Big C's book. It's by the government's book. Your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options are promised to you. 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. And when you do, just tell them Big C sent you. Our promise to you to specialize to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets without a spend down. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by our staff of entitlement specialists. Ongoing consulting to provide updates as necessary. Benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescription medication, medical equipment costs, and more. But not only that, protection of your assets. Did you say Aflac? No, Aflac the duck. That's gap insurance. In fact, the duck can't protect its own assets. How can it protect yours? But the RDC team can, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program called probate. You bet your assets. If you don't have a will and a trust, you bet your assets that the probate court will have a will for you. And you will not like it. They take between 10 to 40% of your assets. In fact, I was talking to some good boys called some attorneys. Not your ordinary attorneys. These are Martindale Hubble AV-rated lawyers. And they said, Big C, would you believe that 7 out of 10 Americans do not have a will and a trust? I said, oh, you must be out of your foggy mind. Spock on the great Star Trek. They said, no, seriously. 7 out of 10 Americans do not have a will and a trust, but they have cable TV. I said, what? He said, yeah, they have cable TV. And a cable TV cannot protect your assets when you go to probate court. A trust can help you avoid probate court. If you're sued and go into court, that trust protects you. You got to have that. 7 out of 10 people don't have it, but they have cable TV. We have a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. But I'm not done yet. I said, I'm not done yet. Because why would people have a trust that helps you? In so many ways, you got to have it, especially some of you athletes that are being taken from behind the woodshed, and people want to invest your money and do a lot of things for you. And then next thing you know, you wake up and everything's gone. But the protection insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance, veterans benefits, 8 and attendance. What about fixed assets? Does the trust protect that? I'm glad you asked. Because the trust protects, listen up, athletes. If you had this, a lot of you wouldn't be going through the issues you're going through. A trust protects your bank account, your checking account, your savings account, your money market account, your certificates of deposit, life insurance with cash values, your fixed indexed annuities. What about your variable assets? Does the trust protect that? I'm glad you asked, because the trust, it protects your variable assets. Your real estate, it protects that. Your qualified money, your IRAs, your 401ks, and other investments. For example, avoid capital gains. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000, and then 1 year later, that house appreciates to $1 million, according to some real estate brokers that want to make the sale. You avoid that with a trust. Attention business owners, attention business owners, attention business owners. Over 3 decades of experience, you got to realize you can find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. Oh, my insurance covers everything, Big C. Well, that's not true. All we need is a copy of your insurance declaration page. Just call 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624, and just tell them Big C sent you. Big C, I got a friend, and he also does trust. So why would we trust you and the RDC team? Well, I'm glad you asked, because a lot of people do trust. But do they have endorsements? The RDC team does. The endorsements are the late James Gomez. Who's the late James Gomez, Big C? I'm glad you asked. He advised 4 California governors and led change in nursing homes. He also was the CEO of the California Association of Health Facilities. But not only that, he served on Golden One's board of directors over 21 years. But not only that, we have the late Robert Carlson. Who was the late Robert Carlson? Well, he was the top legal counsel for CalPERS, one of the largest employers in the state of California. He endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have attorney Judge Jones Esquire. He's the chair of the California Black Chamber of Commerce, also the California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Not only that, we have attorney Scott Thibodeau, one of the top estate planners in Northern California. But not only that, we have Mr. Leon Woods. He works with many of the top lobbyists in California. He endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Mrs. Cheryl Brown. She's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. She endorses the RDC team. But not only that, we have Mr. Ray De La Cruz. He's the CEO of Resource Development Consulting. Been doing this thing over 34 years and counting. But not only that, we have Mr. Alex De La Cruz. He's the founder of American Veteran Benefits. He endorsed the RDC team. But not only that, we have Charlton Curry. He's the co-chair of the National Black Wall Street Project. I endorse the RDC team. Also, business development consultant with the RDC team. But not only that, owner of Big C Sports Podcast Corporation, the #1 sports show in the universe. Talking asset protection. Hut 1, Hut 2, asset protection. I endorse the RDC team. But not only that, we have Double O. She's the payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. Also, business development consultant with the RDC team. But not only that, has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat. You can Google it on Access Sacramento, also on KUBU 96.5 FM and eatprivate.net. You can give that some praise. We all support the RDC team. But that's my spirit. I'm sticking with it. Got a lot of good things in our direction. Also, I want to just say, I want to pay attention to something that's coming up. We have access to money when people need money fast, and oftentimes the banks may be taking their good time. Sometimes the banks take their sweet time to get you a deal because they have their own ups and downs. They got to make sure their profit and losses are great. But for you business owners that need money fast, I say if you need money fast, 4 months bank statements, $5,000 minimum monthly revenue in 6 months in business, we can get you some money. We specialize in unsecured working capital up to $5 million, no collateral, early payoff discounts. We can fund in as little as 1 day. And sometimes it may take 3 days depending on the amount of the funding. 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. And when you do, you want to give it, I say you want to give it some, I say you want to give it some, you want to give it some praise. And I'm also coming out with an album. What makes you coming out with a what? I say I'm coming out with an album because I want to do more than this board talk show. I want to say I have a dream. I have a dream that one day Big C Sports will have the #1 CD in the universe. Give that some praise. And I won't be going to know what they call those kind of freak-off parties. What kind of party is it? Freak-off party. What's a freak-off party? The kind of party I'm not going to. I'm not going. I'll not tolerate freaking-off parties. If that makes sense. But I know some people love freaking-off parties. Be careful. Sometimes you're being recorded. That's my story. I'm taking with it. I got to say something because I'm pro-reparations. And before I get into that, I didn't hear anything at the VP debate last night on reparations, but they have the audacity to ask me for my vote. I said they have the audacity to ask me for my vote. Why would I vote for someone who won't even discuss reparations? I said, why would I even vote for someone who won't discuss reparations? The only one voting for reparations is Dr. Cornel West, and they're suing him to keep him from running. Politics is a dirty business. But I want you to hear from the #1 speaker in this country about reparations. You're going to hear from a conservative talk show host, a white man, that talks about reparations when the 2 VP candidates last night would not talk about it. Listen to what he says.
Martin Luther King, we had a conversation a couple days ago about handouts and how these right-wing memes, these Republican memes, have infiltrated the Democratic debate to suggest that, ending welfare as we know it, all those kind of things are somehow, great and noble things, when we're not dealing with the underlying problem, which is that there's no economic opportunity there because of insane trade policies and because of Reaganomics. And Martin Luther King spoke to this. Jim and Shane, this is clip number 4. Martin Luther King spoke to this sometime back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
The problem. At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America. And it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with the complete, and didn't just steal it. I mean, murdered them. He murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans for 100 years in this country. It's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries. It is a very, very strong case for that.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. If Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. can talk about reparations, what happened with Walton and Vance last night? But they asked for the black vote. See, white Americans already got the reparations through the Homestead Act, and that money was bequeathed down from generation to generation through the eighth wonder of the world called compound interest, according to Albert Einstein, and also the money that was built up through slavery and life insurance policies and land that was only for white people. And when they had a seminal opportunity to do what they could have done, to talk about reparations, just like Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, they said nothing about it. Keep that in mind when you go to the polls. I want to just say something so important. I want to also just make sure, because back by popular demand, I want to make sure I'm launching Big C Sports Apparel, and I have the Big C's, the athletic shirts, the athletic long sleeve shirts and short sleeve shirts, the athletic hats, and I'm thinking of Big C shoes. I'm even going to do Big C's jockey shorts. It comes in one size, extra large. I say extra large. You got to put the Big C in the front. Because if you put the Big C in the back, it would look different for you models out there. You don't want to put the Big C in the back. Put the Big C in the front. It comes in one size, extra large. I might have a second size, extra wide load. I'm telling you, I kid you not. I was saying, as I was manifesting, Nam yo reke yo, nam yo reke yo, nam yo reke yo, that I'm launching my sports attire, and I got a good old boy called me today, said that he's meeting with the distributor that does apparel, athletic apparel. How did that line up? God did it. I tell you, my mama told me these things would happen. But I also want you to hear something. That's important. I want to just run down some baseball scores right now. In the October the 2nd, New York, the Mets, right now they lead the series 1-0 against the Milwaukee Brewers. And then San Diego leads 1-0. This series 1-0 against the San Diego. San Diego leads it against the Atlanta Braves. And then Detroit has defeated Houston 2-0, so they move on. And then the Kansas City Royals, they defeated the Baltimore Orioles 2-0, so they move on, they advance. And so I wish them nothing but the best. It's been a great season of playoffs so far, and we're expecting more and more. I want you to hear why the RDC team is so important for athletes. I'm going to let you hear some excerpts of what's happened to some of our famous athletes and how their money disappeared like a vacuum sucking out dirt. If they had a trust, a lot of them would have been protected. Listen with your own eyes and ears.
NBA players always fall for the wrong girls.
Since you want to send your publicist to talk shit about me every other freaking week, how about you get on a treadmill, speed 3, level 12, and maybe you'll lose some weight.
And it's not just Zion. This shit has been going on in the sport since the jump. The moment these players get in the program, they go for the shiniest looking females, and it burns their ass blacker than that Thanksgiving turkey your pops was cooking. Well, I got a list. From rags to riches to rags again. Here's 10 NBA players who went broke because of girls. Antoine Walker, $108 million.
So what would be an example of something that you did at that younger age that you look back on now and say you just can't believe you spent the money doing that?
I would say a lot of exotic cars, jewelry that I did. I had a car fetish when I was very young. I had 5 or 6 different cars, but I have the most expensive car.
$108 million. That's how much Antoine Walker lost over the course of a career that should have set him up for life. And it would have been bad enough if it was just one woman that took all of his money. Truth is, Antoine was really just unwise and spread thin, but it wasn't always like that. The homie was born into poverty, but he was made for greatness. Because from the moment he stepped onto the NBA court, Walker made an immediate impact. Standing at 6 feet 7 inches tall and possessing a unique blend of size, athleticism, and ball handling skills, he quickly became a force to be reckoned with. Over the next several years, Walker continued to establish himself as one of the league's premier players. In 2002, Walker's hard work and dedication paid off when he helped lead the Boston Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals. With his newfound fame and fortune, Walker embraced the lifestyle of a superstar athlete. He indulged in the trappings of success, purchasing extravagant cars, sporting flashy jewelry, and living in luxurious homes. Walker's desire to provide for his family and friends led him to be incredibly generous, often acting as an open ATM for those around him. Another of Walker's weaknesses was his love for beautiful women. That's what got him in bed with Evelyn Lozada Walker, and Lozada were together for 10 years, from 1998 to 2008, with things ending in an ugly fashion. The couple's lavish lifestyle, fueled by Walker's spending habits, only added to the strain on his already fragile finances. In his own words, he said that what brought his ruin was him trying to be like Diddy and Jay-Z. He was pursuing their lifestyle, but while they understood how money worked, he didn't. While Antoine Walker's lavish spending and gambling habits played a significant role in his financial downfall, it was the Great Recession that delivered the final blow. Walker had ventured into the world of real estate, establishing his own firm with ambitious plans for construction projects. However, when the financial crisis hit between 2007 and 2009, the banks demanded their money back, leaving Walker in a precarious position. Desperate for funds, Walker made the difficult decision to sell his championship ring, which he had won with the Miami Heat, fetching a modest sum of $21,500 in 2012. It was a stark reminder of the depths to which he had fallen. Larry Johnson.
You know, whatever Scotty thinks about me, fine. You know, he posed no threat to me. He knows what I think about him, which is nothing.
$60 million in career earnings, 5 kids, 4 women. Larry Johnson set himself for failure the moment he got his wheels grinding in the NBA. It wasn't always like that. Larry Johnson was destined for greatness from a young age. His basketball journey began in high school, where he showcased his exceptional skills as a member of the 1987 McDonald's High School All-American team. This recognition paved the way for his college career, where he played for Odessa College in Texas. Johnson's talent and dedication were undeniable, and he quickly made a name for himself as a dominant force on the court. During his his time at Odessa, he averaged an impressive 22.3 points per game as a freshman and over 29 points per game in his sophomore year. His outstanding performance earned him the National Junior College Athletic Association Division I Player of the Year award for 2 consecutive years, a feat that had never been achieved before. In 1991, he was selected as the first overall pick by the Charlotte Hornets in the NBA draft. This marked the beginning of his professional career, where he quickly established himself as a force to be reckoned with on the court. While Larry Johnson's basketball career was filled with success and accolades, his financial journey took a different turn. As his fame and fortune grew, so did his extravagant spending habits. Johnson indulged in a lavish lifestyle, splurging on luxury cars, designer clothes, and extravagant parties. He became known for his flashy jewelry and extravagant purchases. One of the major factors that contributed to Johnson's financial downfall was his complicated personal life. He had 5 children with 4 women, which led to significant child support payments. These financial obligations, coupled with his extravagant spending, put a strain on his finances. In 2015, Johnson filed for bankruptcy, claiming that he owed over $120,000 in unpaid child support. This marked a significant fall from grace for the once wealthy athlete. Johnson's financial struggles serve as a cautionary tale about the importance of responsible financial management, regardless of one's income. Dennis Rodman. It wasn't the women that Dennis slept with that did him in. It was the one he didn't sleep with that over. Let's go a little back to some version of the beginning. Dennis Rodman's journey to fame and fortune began on the basketball courts of his hometown in Trenton, New Jersey. From a young age, Rodman displayed exceptional talent and a relentless work ethic that would propel him to the pinnacle of the sport. After a successful college career at Southeastern Oklahoma State University, Rodman was selected by the Detroit Pistons in the second round of the 1986 NBA draft. It was with the Pistons that Rodman's star began to rise. Known for his tenacious defense and unmatched rebounding skills, Rodman quickly became a key contributor to the team's success. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Rodman played an integral role in the Pistons' back-to-back NBA championships in 1989 and 1990. Rodman's success on the court translated into lucrative endorsement deals and sponsorship opportunities. His marketability skyrocketed, and he became a sought-after figure in the entertainment industry. From appearances in movies and TV shows to his own line of merchandise, Rodman's brand was in high demand. As his fame grew, so did his fortune. Rodman's earnings from his basketball contracts and endorsement deals reached staggering heights. He became one of the highest paid athletes of his time, amassing a considerable wealth that seemed boundless. While Dennis Rodman enjoyed the fruits of his success, little did he know that his fortune was slowly slipping away thanks to the deceptive actions of his financial advisor, Peggy Ann Fulford. Fulford, who presented herself as a Harvard-educated financial advisor, gained Rodman's trust and that of other professional athletes by promising to secure their financial futures. Fulford's scheme involved depositing her client's income into 2 bank accounts, one for standard expenses and the other for investment. With the power of attorney, she had broad control over their finances. However, instead of safeguarding their wealth, Fulford exploited her position to divert funds for her personal gain. As Rodman attempted to address financial concerns with Fulford, she deflected blame by pointing to his extravagant spending habits, suggesting that he couldn't be trusted with his own accounts. This manipulation allowed Fulford to continue her deceitful practices, siphoning off substantial amounts of money from Rodman and other athletes. Authorities eventually uncovered Fulford's elaborate web of deception. She was managing numerous bank accounts and shell corporations, using them to launder money and cover her tracks. In 2016, Fulford was arrested, and she was later sentenced to 10 years in prison in order to pay restitution to her victims, including Rodman. Eddie Curry. I almost didn't add Eddie Curry's name here, because the way his life got up was way too much for whatever crime he committed. His baby mama, his daughter died in one day, and then his wife having to find out he was cheating that way. Life can be cruel sometimes. But truth is, Eddie had already been having money problems before death came knocking. In 2001, Curry led his high school team to an impressive second place in the IHSA state playoffs, and he was named the 2001 Illinois Mr. Basketball. In that same 2001, Curry's dreams became a reality when he was selected as the 4th overall pick in the NBA draft by the Chicago Bulls. The stage was set for Curry to make his mark in the professional basketball world. Curry's early years in the NBA were marked by limited playing time, but he quickly proved his worth. In his second year, he led the league in field goal percentage, an impressive feat for a young player. Curry's talent and potential were evident, and he became the first Bull since Michael Jordan to lead the league in a major statistical category. The 2004 to 2005 season was a turning point for Curry and the Bulls. The team showed significant improvement, and Curry emerged as their leading scorer. However, tragedy struck when he was hospitalized with an irregular heartbeat, forcing him to miss the playoffs. Eventually, he received clearance from heart specialists to resume practice, ready to continue his NBA journey. After his successful stint with the Chicago Bulls, Eddie Curry's career took an unexpected turn when he was traded to the New York Knicks on October 3rd, 2005. Despite the initial excitement surrounding his arrival in New York, Curry struggled to live up to the high expectations placed upon him. Former coaches Scott Skiles and Larry Brown openly expressed their frustration with Curry's defensive shortcomings. In a memorable interview, Skiles was asked what Curry needed to do to become a better rebounder, to which he simply replied, jump. However, amidst challenges, there was a glimmer of hope for Curry during the 2006 to 2007 season. Under the guidance of Coach Isaiah Thomas, Curry experienced a resurgence in his performance. Unfortunately, Curry's success was short-lived. The following season saw a regression in his game, and he faced challenges both on and off the court. He struggled with weight and conditioning issues. Showing up to, in 2012, Curry made the decision to play overseas, joining the Zhejiang Golden Bulls in China. He showcased his skills and averaged impressive numbers, but his time abroad was not without challenges. Curry faced health issues, including gastroenteritis, which caused him to miss crucial playoff games. While Curry faced professional challenges, his personal life was also marred by tragedy and financial difficulties. In 2009, his ex-girlfriend Nova Henry and their 10-month-old daughter Ava Curry were tragically murdered. The devastating loss of his loved ones left Curry grappling with immense grief. Additionally, Curry faced financial hardships throughout his career and beyond. His Chicago home went into foreclosure in 2009, and he owed significant amounts in mortgage payments. Despite his once lucrative NBA contracts, Curry found himself facing eviction and financial instability. Despite the challenges, Curry continued to work towards reviving his basketball career. He played for the Zhuhai Wolf Warriors in the ASEAN Basketball League in 2018 to 2019, showcasing his skills once again. However, his journey back to the NBA remained elusive. Sean Kemp.
I started off playing basketball pretty early on. Back in Indiana, so I've pretty much been playing all my life.
Six-time All-Star, 14-year career, $91 million. It's Sean Kemp, baby, and there's 7 of you. Yep, you heard that right. Because when Sean was active, it wasn't just his skills on the court that made headlines. Kemp's personal life was the buzz, and it all began with his unconventional family. Kemp is the proud father of 7 children, but here's the jaw-dropping part. They're from 6 different women. His oldest son, Sean Kemp Jr., followed in his father's footsteps and played college basketball for Washington. Kemp also has a son named Jamie, who played basketball for Southern Eastern Louisiana University. With 7 children and 6 different mothers, Kemp's personal life was nothing short of sensational. But how did this contribute to his financial downfall? At the peak of his NBA journey, Kemp was a force to be reckoned with. He enjoyed his best years after joining the Cleveland Cavaliers in 1997, averaging an impressive 18 points per game. However, as Kemp's personal life became more complicated, his on-court performance began to suffer. The distractions and controversies off the court took a toll on his physical conditioning and overall focus. Kemp's production significantly plummeted when he joined the Portland Trail Blazers. In 2000, he averaged just 6.5 points per game, followed by 6.1 points in 2001. And his time with the Orlando Magic in 2002 saw him averaging only 6.8 points. It wasn't just the personal struggles that affected Kemp's game. He also battled with drug and alcohol abuse, which further derailed his NBA career. These issues emerged right when he was at the peak of his abilities. So as the bills piled up and the financial pressure mounted, Kemp found himself in a dire situation. The once rich and successful NBA star was now grappling with the consequences of his extravagant lifestyle and personal struggles. Despite his undeniable talent, Kemp's off-court troubles overshadowed his on-court achievements. I mean, it's crazy that Sean Kemp is not in the Hall of Fame, but it is what it is. After his NBA career came to an end, Kemp faced the financial pressure of providing for his 7 children. He attempted comebacks with teams like the Dallas Mavericks and the Denver Nuggets, but unfortunately, these attempts didn't materialize. Ultimately, Kemp never secured another NBA spot and retired from professional basketball. His journey took an unexpected turn as he ended his career playing in Rome. Kenny Anderson.
And it's helped me with my therapy and everything like that. Because that's why I was acting up. You know, I have 8 kids, 4 different women. Maybe that's, I don't know. Sometimes we don't like to tell the truth about who you are, but you know, that's probably what it is.
Former NBA star Kenny Anderson went from being a millionaire to filing for bankruptcy. How could someone who earned over $63 million throughout his career end up losing it all? Well, let's start from the beginning. Kenny Anderson grew up in New York, and from the jump, he was always the best point guard on any court. His skills were unmatched, and scouts took notice from an early age. Dubbed as the next Magic Johnson, Anderson had scouts calling his home since he was in the 6th grade, and they were right to do so. By the time he finished high school in 1989, Anderson had achieved something something only Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had done at that level. He became the only player to be named All-City 4 times, solidifying his status as a basketball prodigy. The hype around Anderson only grew as he was ranked higher than the legendary Shaquille O'Neal and became one of the most prized recruits in Georgia Tech history. Anderson's talent and potential were undeniable. He had the world at his feet and the NBA was calling his name. In 1991, Anderson was drafted as the second overall pick by the New Jersey Nets. The pressure was on for him to resurrect a struggling franchise and live up to the high expectations set by fans. And while Anderson did show promise, becoming an all-star in his third year, it was clear that he wasn't reaching the same level of success as his early years. The high school version of Anderson that fans had expected seemed to be just out of reach. Anderson's career took him to several different teams, including the Celtics, Blazers, Pacers, Hawks, Sonics, New Orleans Hornets, and Clippers. But despite his talent and potential, he never quite reached the same level of success as he did in his early years. While Kenny Anderson's basketball career may have had its ups and downs, it was his financial journey that would ultimately lead to his downfall. I'll put it mildly, Anderson was extravagant. From luxury cars to extravagant mansions to exotic women, the point guard rammed through his bank account like a freight train on schedule and with a death wish. By the time he retired from professional basketball, Anderson filed for bankruptcy. The staggering amount of money he had earned throughout his career had vanished, leaving him in a state of financial ruin. In an interview with Forbes in 2015, Anderson admitted that he thought his money would last forever. Darius Miles.
What are you trying to prove out there?
No, I'm just out here having fun. There's kids out here, and I got much love for the kids. I'm just trying to put on a show for the kids.
Once a rising basketball prodigy, Miles went from the mean streets of East St. Louis to the glitz and glamour of the NBA. But despite earning a staggering $62 million in salary, Miles found himself filing for bankruptcy, losing it all. At just 18 years old, Miles made a leap that most can only dream of. He went straight from playing high school basketball to becoming the third overall pick in the 2000 NBA draft. The Los Angeles Clippers saw his potential and signed him to a contract that paid him roughly $3 million per year. Becoming an instant millionaire was a culture shock for Miles. He went from the mean streets to flying on private jets, greeted by luxury cars upon landing in Los Angeles. The young basketball prodigy was living the high life, with endorsement deals from Nike and even a budding acting career in Hollywood, where he appeared in movies such as Van Wilder and The Perfect Score, alongside Hollywood stars like Ryan Reynolds, Scarlett Johansson, and Chris Evans. Though he never made an NBA All-Star team, he played for 4 teams over 8 seasons, earning...
Looking for a unique point of view on pro sports game analysis? Then tune in to Big C Sports Podcast on iHeartRadio. Get real sports talk worldwide. Miss a live episode? Replay it on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Join Big C, former NFL player and longtime award-winning radio broadcaster, covering all sports including NFL, NBA, MLB, UFC, NCAA, USL, and more. Tune in live or on demand on iHeartRadio Podcast today.
Young basketball prodigy was living the high life, with endorsement deals from Nike and even a budding acting career in Hollywood, where he appeared in movies such as Van Wilder and The Perfect Score, alongside Hollywood stars like Ryan Reynolds, Scarlett Johansson, and Chris Evans. Though he never made an NBA All-Star team, he played for 4 teams over 8 seasons, earning a total of $61.9 million in career salary. His high point came in 2008 when he earned $9 million from the Portland Trail Blazers. The story from here on was the same. Money, cars, women, Darius did it all, but he'd later say that it takes a long time to go broke buying Ferraris, but it's the shady business deals that can make money disappear in the blink of an eye. I don't know about that. I've never owned a Ferrari, but the truth is, Miles did fall victim to some ill-fated venture. He lost over $100,000 in a California real estate deal. This setback, along with other undisclosed bad investments, contributed to his financial woes. But it wasn't just individual deals that led to Miles's downfall. He was also part of an investment group that included other St. Louis-based stars like former NFL running back Marshall Faulk and rapper Nelly. Unfortunately, a bad real estate deal in downtown St. Louis resulted in multiple multi-million-dollar lawsuits, leaving Miles and his fellow investors in a legal battle with a local lender. Personal issues further exacerbated Miles' financial problems. He suffered from depression for several years following his mother's death from cancer in 2013, which likely impacted his ability to make sound financial decisions during that time. In the end, Miles was forced to declare bankruptcy in 2016. To pay off his debts, he had to auction off many of his belongings, including sports memorabilia, DVDs, video games, and even expensive firearms. Lamar Odom, $114 million.
How many times did you get caught cheating? By Chloe.
Oh, 2.
That's not bad. She seems like a forgiving person.
She is.
I know we like to shit on the Kardashians, but in this case, I genuinely think Lamar was the problem, not Khloe. Lamar Odom was the author of his own downfall, and the reason why he put himself in the kind of environment that would wipe his $114 million fortune clean. Born and raised in a troubled environment, Odom faced adversity from a young age. With his mother tragically passing away and his father battling addiction, his path to success was far from easy. But against all odds, Odom's talent and determination propelled him to the pinnacle of the NBA. As Lamar Odom basked in the glory of his NBA success, his newfound wealth seemed limitless. Odom indulged in a lifestyle of opulence, splurging on luxury cars, sprawling mansions, and extravagant vacations. Odom's desire to maintain a certain image and to keep up with the Kardashian lifestyle only fueled his spending habits. He became a regular fixture at high-profile events and parties, where the champagne flowed freely and the price tags were astronomical. But behind the scenes, the consequences of Odom's extravagant lifestyle were mounting. His bank accounts dwindled and debts began to pile up. The once seemingly endless stream of income was no match for his insatiable appetite for luxury. Adding fuel to the fire was Odom's tumultuous marriage to reality TV star Khloe Kardashian. Their relationship became tabloid fodder, with the media scrutinizing their every move. The pressure to maintain appearances only intensified Odom's need for excessive spending. Rumors of Odom's infidelity began to surface, the tabloids speculating about his extramarital affairs. The strain of Odom's infidelity eventually took a toll on their marriage, and the two filed for divorce, ending their marriage. The emotional toll of the divorce, combined with Odom's ongoing battles with addiction, pushed him to the brink. He spiraled into a dark place, struggling to find solace and stability amidst the chaos. Eventually, the consequences caught up with Odom. He found himself drowning in debt, unable to sustain his lavish lifestyle. Bankruptcy filings and legal battles became the new norm for the former NBA star. He even admitted that Kobe had to bail him out on six-figure gambling debt at some point. Jason Caffey, $34 million.
I wanted to come out here and work with these kids on their basketball skills, as well as some financial literacy. We have them in classrooms with people that work at the bank.
Jason Caffey learned his lesson too late. In the late 1990s, Caffey signed a staggering $35 million contract with the Golden State Warriors, solidifying his status as a wealthy NBA player. $35 million might not sound like much today, but when you adjust for inflation and compared to the times he was playing in, it was insane. And it would have stayed insane if Jason Caffey didn't ruin his own life. 10 children from 8 mothers? Seems like Jason was trying to build his own squad at home, but it would bite him in the ass, because his career took a downturn when he joined the Milwaukee Bucks and eventually retired from professional basketball. With his NBA career behind him, Caffey faced a new challenge, managing his finances outside of the lucrative basketball world. Unfortunately, this transition proved to be a difficult one, and Caffey soon found himself in a dire financial situation. As Jason Caffey's NBA career came to an end, his financial troubles began to mount. Record from the U.S. Bankruptcy Court in Mobile revealed a staggering $1.9 million in debts against Caffey's assets to cover his expenses. More than half of his income, $7,000, went towards alimony and child support payments. His ex-wife, Bibi, sued him for divorce and was awarded their $800,000 home in Roswell, Georgia. But she wasn't the only one seeking child support from Caffey. Several other women also filed lawsuits, adding to his financial burdens. An attorney representing one of the women, LaRonda Brown, acknowledged that Caffey owed Brown $70,000, but Brown's document claimed the amount, including interest and attorney's fees, to be $112,736. The weight of his financial obligations, particularly the hefty child support payments, became a significant burden for Caffey. The once prosperous NBA player found himself struggling to make ends meet and facing the consequences of his financial choices. Eric Williams, $40 million. How did Eric Williams lose $40 million? Well, it depends on who's answering. It's either his extravagant spending, the fact that he married a reality star, or both. Eric Williams was once something of a big deal on the courts of the Celtics, Nuggets, Cavaliers, Nets, Raptors, Spurs, and Bobcats through his NBA career. His ass was everywhere. As his career flourished, so did his bank account. Williams amassed a staggering $40 million. Eric Williams had a taste for the finer things in life. He spared no expense, indulging in lavish spending sprees, expensive purchases, and extravagant parties. The allure of luxury became an addiction, blinding him to the consequences of his actions. Because between luxury cars and extravagant vacations with his beau, Jennifer Williams, Eric Williams' account began to leak. Behind the scenes, the bills began to pile up. The extravagant lifestyle Eric Williams had grown accustomed to came with a hefty price tag. His spending habits were unsustainable, and his financial obligations started to outweigh his income.
Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. A lot of athletes, they go through things, and that's why I love doing the Big C team with the RDC team. A guy to protect preserve and transfer wealth, and a lot of times people do it too late in life as they get sucked on like vacuum cleaners sucking on dirt. You don't want to be sucked on unless you want to be sucked on, if that makes sense to you. Look out for the Big C Sports athletic apparel coming to you near Christmas. The Big C jockey shorts only come in one size, extra large, and you got to put the logo on the front. The logo on the front is Big C. Big C is the logo on the front. Don't put it on the back. It's meant for the front. Also, the Big C's athletic apparel, short sleeve athletic shirts with microfiber. Also, the Big C's long sleeve athletic shirts made out of microfiber. And the Big C hat. You want to put a Big C on your hat? Make sure you put the C in the front. It looks better with the C's in the front for the extra white loo. Well, that's my story, and I take it with it. Love bringing excerpts from Big C Sports and the RDC team. And also, it's so important that I mention to you what I'm doing with the RDC team and the Big C team, the National Black Wall Street Project, School and Economic Preparatory. We have, dear students, it is our pleasure to welcome you to National Black Wall Street School and Economic Preparatory for the school year 2024-2025. We at the National Black Wall Street Project School are dedicated to providing you with the best possible education in a diversified economic environment. Your support of the policies and adherence to the procedures ensure the smooth and effective school function. The cooperation of home and school is one of the major tenets of the success of you and your family's economic growth. To succeed in a better life, you got to give that some praise. Give it praise. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I love telling you on every Big C Sports show, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. I want you to hear why.
Life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. If you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink, because mothers against drunk drivers. Well, hold on. Some mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and some fathers against drunk drivers are mad, because a lot of parents, they will encourage their kids to drink and then tell them drive safe. I've seen it with my own two eyes. Are you out of your fucking mind? Don't let someone drink and drive if you love them. The life you save may be your own, or someone you love, or someone who loves you, or someone who's loved by somebody else. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As my beautiful mother always has said over the years, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever go through that crap on their own. If you're going through that crap, you need more leader in your life. Leader is an acronym for love is the answer. If somebody's slapping you, only slap you because you may be mad. Call 911. If someone's kicking you, only kick you because you made me mad. Call 911. If someone's choking you out, only choked you out because you made me mad. Pick up the phone and call 911, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that crap on their own. If someone loves you, they don't hit you, they don't slap you, they don't choke you out. Call 911. You need more leader in your life. Don't let anyone do that to you. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always praise on my beautiful family side on every Big C Sports podcast, on my mother's side, my great-grandparents, mama and pop, they were beautiful, loving, kind people, always making sure lots of love in the family and lots of food in the belly. And always, you know how kids go outside and play all day, and then when it's time to eat, they come inside to eat, all sweaty and smelly, getting right into the kitchen. Great-grandma, I'm hungry. I want some collard greens and I want some ribs. She said, okay, baby, go ahead and wash your hands and come back and get some collard greens and some ribs. Great-grandma, I don't have time to wash my hands. I'm hungry now. She said, baby, just go wash your hands. I tell you this every time, and then you can have some collard greens and some ribs. I said, I'm too hungry to wash my hands. She said, you can wash your hands in this house. I said, okay, and we washed our hands, and she let us have the collard greens and ribs. Love my great-grandmother, all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My great-grandfather, Pop, former military man and former Negro League baseball player, can fix anything. He can fix an alternator. He can even fix an alternator. I think that's one of the reasons my great-grandmama liked him, because he can fix an alternator. Really do appreciate him very much. A great-great-grandfather. Then my beautiful grandparents, my dear and Hezekiah, beautiful, loving people. They were seers. They could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past. their present, and their future. They still help me to this day. And that's why I have that Big C Sports clothing and apparel. I was dreaming about it. I was meditating and going, Nam Yo Rinke Yo, Nam Yo Rinke Yo, Nam Yo Rinke Yo. I've been chanting Nam Yo Rinke Yo, and things have been coming to me like I won the Powerball tonight. $275 million. Love my grandparents with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then I can always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. It started a Head Start program, a food program, and goes to all boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe. Always seeing rise and shine. The best person I ever met in my life. Mama, you hear my praise. You hear my praise. I'm ready now. I deserve it. And I thank you, Mama, with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. The best person I ever met in my life. I'm praising like you always taught me to praise. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then on my father's side, my grandparents, Albert and Alberta Curry, they were pastors. They had 3 churches. They also owned 2 gas stations in Oakland. But they also owned 40 acres of land. You want a Porsche? We'll get you a Porsche. They also owned 40 acres of land. The homestead that gave white Americans 160 acres of land. What a head start. And then the VP candidate last night, Walsh and Vance, they didn't even mention reparations. And they come from ancestors that got that money. Shame on them. Shame on them. My great-grandmother said, she said, there's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak. And now my voice is being heard all over the world. But I was 8 years old, about 10 o'clock at night, walking through the hallway in the dark. I felt somebody touch me on my forehead. She said, what are you doing, young man? Going to get some more cookies? I said, what are you doing up, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, what are you doing, young man? Going to get some cookies? I said, cookies are baby crap. What I'm doing, Grandma, I'm going to get my reparations. But a couple of cookies wouldn't hurt. It's been a long wait. Love my grandparents with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And my grandfather can fix anything with his hands. He can even fix an alternator. He can fix an alternator. And maybe that's why she liked them too. Love them with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then my beautiful father, the former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure that airplanes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Always saying develop your mind to its highest extent. I love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And my beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice. Sound like thunder, and what does thunder sound like? And lightning. With Todd to speak. A voracious reader, always saying go forward. In fact, he would often say, he said, go forward, don't look back because you don't have much backside in the first place. I said, I love my backside, Todd. He said I should lift more weight so I have a bigger backside. And so it's been working. That stuff works. I've been doing more squats, and now my backside's getting bigger. So when I model the Big C underwear, the Big C jockey shorts with the Big C in the front, they only come in one size, extra large. Make sure you put the C on the front. It looks funny if you put the C on the back. That's my story. I'm taking with it. You know, we love Malcolm X. But one of our great movies was Pulp Fiction with the great Sam Jackson. What's in your wallet? Bruce Willis, Vin Rames, and John Travolta. Before the big fight, Vin Rames said, boy, sit your butt down over here in this chair. He said, take this money and remember what I tell you. He said, your butt goes down in the 5th round. Say that, Flip! And Bruce Willis said, okay, my butt goes down in the 5th round. And Vin Rames said, that stinging sensation you feeling? Well, that's just pride. Bumping with you! And the way only Ben Rames could say it, he said, flow pride! He said, pride only hurts. It never helps. He said, politics is filled with some unrealistic muddy bluckers who think that butt gets better with time, like fine wine, but it don't. How dare they not talk about reparations? He said, if you're thinking about red wine, then it do. But like vinegar, it don't. He said, someday you're going to think Uncle Marcellus as you're chilling on the Caribbean. You're going to say Uncle Marcellus is right. Well, we know that Bruce Willis did not take the dive, and he lost his LA privileges. He lost his LA privileges. I love Todd with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Then my beautiful daughter, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate with 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years from a major university. Daisy, you can be anything you want. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17, that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Daisy set up the very first interview for Big C Sports Podcast back at Salem Media. It became the first time in the history of the United States of America that NFL Monday Night Football started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network. They would normally go to ESPN because the two black men of the crew, they started doing their thing on the Big C Sports Podcast at Salem Media. And then Daisy also, she scored 6 goals in a soccer game. It was Daisy with the kick, Daisy with the goal! 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 She's a right-footed kicker, but she did it left-footed, ambidextrous. And they won the game! Daisy, you can always win the game when you trust God. Isaiah 50:17. I pray that no weapon formed against you will prosper. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College graduate, very smart, a good man. You can always be what you want to be, Malcolm. Always trust God. Always trust God. Always pray Isaiah 54:17 that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get the newspaper and look up stats on players and teams. And one day Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went up. I've been Googling ever since. One day Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, yes. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You'll see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. Now it's up on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Malcolm, you can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. Isaiah 54:17. I pray that no weapon formed against you will prosper. And you know that. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. And then Big C, with all that wisdom and knowledge over the years, like my great-grandparents coming out of that barn, like the church buddies always saying, you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Say, let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. That's been nominated Big C Sports Podcast. I have no scripts. I have no 3-minute teleprompters. I have no producer in my ear. All I have was this gland in the brain called the pineal gland. The ancients call it the third eye. They say that's how you talk to God. And that's why I scream so loud. I want God to hear me. God, you hear my praise. You hear me praying. Isaiah 54:17. I pray that no weapon formed against me will prosper. It's an Issachar moment. It's an Issachar moment. I thank you, Father. Just keep blessing me. I keep giving you praise. You know what I'm saying. I deserve it, God. I deserve it now. I deserve it now, God. Love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. As I do with every Big C Sports Podcast, I want to make sure I praise one of the greatest fighters ever. Who's the greatest fighter ever, Big C? Oh, you don't know? Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Jubudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, he said, you float like a butterfly and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. And every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to champion reparations at last. Reparations at last. Thank God Almighty. Reparations at last. And then I float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. There's no fighter greater than Muhammad Ali. As you know, I'm big on sports and reparations, and I want to always pay homage to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And America's 16th president. He had more character than our candidates today, because what they told our candidates as our stand is what they say now. They say reparations at last. Reparations at last. Thank God Almighty. Reparations at last. What did they say, Big C? They said reparations at last. Reparations at last. Thank God Almighty. Reparations at last. What did they say, Big C? They said reparations at last. Reparations at last. Thank God Almighty. Reparations at last. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.
Looking for a unique point of view on pro sports game analysis? Then tune in to Big C Sports Podcast on iHeartRadio. Get real sports talk worldwide. Miss a live episode? Replay it on demand on the iHeartRadio app. Join Big C, NFL player, and longtime award-winning radio broadcaster covering all sports including NFL, NBA, MLB, UFC, NCAA, USL, and more. Tune in live or on demand on iHeartRadio Podcast today. Google Big C Sports for a unique point of view on NCAA, pro sports teams, and big-time players. Tune in now to Big C Sports Podcast. You get real sports talk worldwide. Even if you miss a live episode, you can replay it on demand. Google C Sports, longtime award-winning radio broadcaster covering all sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, UFC, NCAA, USL, and more. Google the Big C Sports Podcast live or on demand today. Do it now.